Alright, so here we have an original Xbox with no signs of life. I left a note on it saying no power, but that isn't an accurate fault description because we don't know that yet. Could show no signs of life for, well, just about anything. Clearly the unit has been opened, the disk drive's missing, then all the hardware is already removed. 4 screws that hide under the rubber feet are missing, 2 more are under the labels are missing already, and whoever opened it before did a good job avoiding damaging the labels. Of course, the silver one is a warranty label that makes that checkered pattern removed, so it's hard to do that one perfectly. But since the hardware is already out, we can go ahead and lift the top of the housing straight off. And it's nice to see that they at least did include the hardware. And removing the hard drive gives complete access to that power supply and motherboard inside. Since we have no signs of life, I'm going to head straight for the power supply first. This unit hasn't been plugged in for a while, so I'm not so concerned about being shocked from it right now. To begin, it's always best to check that fuse first. And then since I'm already in that area, I'm going to do a quick continuity check from the power input to the board. And it is pretty dirty, so I'm just going to blow away some of that dust right now. Now, I discourage unexperienced individuals from working on power supplies, and I emphasize to not do it with power connected. It's easy to make a mistake and receive a pretty severe shock, but I'm going to plug it in to troubleshoot it. Using this cap as my ground, I'm going to connect to check the various DC outputs. In this current configuration, all the wires except for the brown one should show 0 volts. On the brown wire, we are looking for roughly 3.3 volts, which we see here. There are a few variations of power supplies, so others won't have the same wiring as this Delta model does. So far, it's all looking pretty good. Then I just check for the 5 volts present on that power controller IC. And since the voltage is present on that power controller IC that I'm showing here, I'm going to bridge pins 15 and 16 to force the Xbox on. The unit will display an orange colored light, but at least this alludes to the Xbox at least being alive. Some people may check the functions of the buttons first, but I believe this wasn't the issue to begin with. Yet, now that I'm in the area, I'm just going to roll them out real quick. Now, since the brown wire is supplying the necessary 3.3 volts, then we can check our trigger voltages. The blue wire is our power OK and the white is our power on. When pressing the power buttons, you should see a change of state in the realm of 3.3 volts on these wires. And since we're not seeing any voltage present, then we're just going to go ahead and remove the motherboard for troubleshooting. Now with easy access to everything, I'm going to go ahead and place a bridge between the white and blue wires, and then taking that 3.3 volts from the brown wire, I'm going to inject it into that bridge. This is going to compensate for our missing voltages, so the fan spinning will know that it's operating. And we see here we got our power on, so the device is actually operating. And then removing that bridge should power it down. and this leads me to believe that the fault is actually on the motherboard itself. Something probably right in around here, and it's probably not going to be on the power supply. Now apparently my camera stopped recording, but I was checking the continuity from the brown wire throughout the motherboard. It's tricky to follow along, but finally found an issue on this trace. I scraped away some of the solder mask to access the trace, and on the opposite side I scraped away more of the mask and was measuring about 6 mega ohms from one side of the board to the other. This leads me to believe that the via below the mask has broken from the trace. To confirm this, I'm going to bypass the via. I'm going to feed the 3.3 volts on the exposed trace that's after the via and simulate the power button with a flathead screwdriver. And we should see the fan spin up after hitting that power switch like we do here. And since I believe we found the fault, then I'm going ahead and tin the exposed traces and bypass the via with my wiring pencil. And go ahead and break off the excess wire. Gently clean away the flux residue with some alcohol wipes. And then here is my repair. Before complete reassembly, I just want to make sure I've solved it, so I'm going to hook everything up just like I had it before. And the power button should turn it on. And there it goes, it turns it on. Now that power button should also turn it off. And it does turn off, and then the eject button should turn it right back on, and it does. And then we're able to power it right back down. Alright, now I'm going to reassemble the Xbox. Alright, and the Xbox is alive. That blinking light is just due to it not being connected to a TV. But we can see here that the power and eject buttons are both functioning. Now I'm not going to clean or completely close up this Xbox. It's going to be used for a mod build series I plan on making, so if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe. This repair would be considered part 1, and in the next we will install a mod chip, and then later on we're going to do some cosmetic modifications to it. I did plug into a TV later and made sure I could play the system. Broken vias and traces are not a common fault I see, but it always makes for some interesting diagnosing. And well, until next time.